Every legal sportsbook operating in the United States has one vendor they cannot fire. Not a software company, not a payment processor, not a marketing agency, a data company that most of their own customers have never heard of. And on March 31, 2026, a competitor walked into federal court and effectively admitted on the record that they cannot find any way around it. This is a case study about that company and the moat they have built. The company is called Sportradar. It trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker SRAD. Last year, it pulled in €1,290 million in revenue. That is up 17% from the year before. That is not a tech startup growth rate. That is what happens when every regulated betting operator on the continent is structurally required to write you a check. To understand why, you have to understand what Sportradar actually sells and the bet it made years ago. When you place a live-in-play bet on an NBA game inside a regulated U.S. state, the odds on your phone are not magically generated from a TV broadcast and a stopwatch. State law in most jurisdictions requires the sportsbook to use, quote, official league data for any in-play wager. And official league data, by definition, has exactly one authorized seller per league. The leagues pick one partner. Everybody else has to license through that partner. Sportradar's strategic bet, starting almost a decade ago, was to become that partner in every league that mattered. One contract at a time. Start with the NBA. The exclusive worldwide official betting data deal runs from the 2023-24 season through the 2030-31 season. That is 8 seasons of mandatory licensing. The WNBA and the NBA G League are bundled in. Every sportsbook that wants to legally take an NBA bet has to come through Sportradar to do it. Then there is the NHL, a 10-year exclusive global partnership covering betting data, media, and streaming, signed in June of 2021. The contract runs through the 2030-31 season. According to reporting at the time, late-stage bidding for the deal reportedly exceeded $250 million before Sportradar closed it. That is the going rate for one toll booth. And then there is the move that tells you the league office completely understands the trade. In February of 2025, Major League Baseball expanded its exclusive partnership with Sportradar through 2032. But instead of taking the payment purely in cash, the league is receiving up to 1,855,724 Sportradar Class A shares. Think about what that means. MLB is no longer just a vendor of data. MLB is a shareholder in the toll booth. Their incentives are now permanently aligned with Sportradar's revenue. This is the quiet monopoly thesis in its cleanest possible form. Forget the customer-facing sportsbooks burning billions of dollars on Super Bowl spots and welcome bonuses and celebrity endorsements you cannot escape during football season. The best business in legal American sports betting is the one nobody at the sports bar can name. It is the company sitting one layer behind the app, collecting from every operator regardless of who wins the marketing war. Sportradar does not need to bet on FanDuel beating DraftKings, or on some new state-licensed challenger taking share, or on any individual sportsbook still being around in 5 years. Every single one of them pays the same toll on every live wager, and Sportradar is the one writing the receipts. That is the entire game. Look at what that economic model has produced on the income statement. €561 million of revenue in 2021, $730 in 2022, 877 in 2023, 1,107.7 in 2024, and 1,290 last year. That is 5 consecutive years of double-digit growth, straight through a tech crash and a global rate hiking cycle. And the existing customers are not just sticking around. In 2024, Sportradar's customer net retention rate was 117%. That number means that the average existing client, after all churn and cancellations and downgrades, spent 17% more than they did the year before. That is the financial fingerprint of a product whose customers literally cannot afford to leave. And the American opportunity is still in early innings. In 2024, Sportradar's U.S. revenue grew 58% year over year. The U.S. share of total revenue jumped from 19% to 24% in a single year. Every new state that legalizes in-play betting effectively widens the lanes on this toll booth. Now watch the margin line. Adjusted EBITDA margin was 19% in 2023, 20.1% in 2024, 23% in 2025. Adjusted EBITDA itself reached 297 million euros last year, up 33%. The data infrastructure is mostly a fixed cost. Cameras, scouts, servers, league fees. Every additional sportsbook client that plugs into the feed drops almost straight to the bottom line. And then, in March of 2026, came the validation Sportradar's executives could never have written themselves. A sportsbook software competitor named Altenar filed a federal antitrust lawsuit in the U.S. District Court of New Jersey. Their argument? Sportradar's exclusive control of NBA, MLB, NHL, and ATP data constitutes, in their own words, an essential input and a structural barrier. They are alleging violations of Sherman Act Section 2. They are seeking treble damages and a permanent injunction. When your competitor is asking a federal judge to break you up, you are not just a market leader, you are the market. Here is the transferable lesson, and it is the one we keep coming back to on this channel. The most durable moats in modern business are almost never the ones built into a logo, an ad campaign, or a viral feature. They are the ones written into a long-dated contract and then quietly enforced by a state regulator. Exclusive multi-year rights. A government rulebook that mandates your specific product as a legal input. A customer base whose own license to operate depends on writing you a check every month. That is not a competitive advantage. That is infrastructure wearing the clothes of a software company. And management knows exactly what they have built. Net profit roughly tripled to 100 million euros last year, up from 33.6 million the year before. Alongside those results, the board announced an expansion of its share buyback plan to $1 billion. That is the most expensive language a CEO speaks. It is the closest a public company gets to saying out loud, our free cash flow is durable, our moat is intact, and we are not afraid to bet the balance sheet on it. If you want more breakdowns of the quiet toll booths hiding inside industries that look chaotic from the outside, subscribe. Finding them is the entire job of this channel.